Ethan had never expected that a single piece of news could turn his entire world upside down, filling his heart with a joy so overwhelming it took his breath away, yet planting a dark seed of fear that clawed relentlessly at his soul. Every crime leaves behind a trail, but some trails were never meant to be followed. This is CrimeLock, unlocking the darkest chapters of real-life crimes, hidden motives, and unsolved mysteries. From cold cases to brutal truths, we dig deeper, go darker, and reveal what others won't. If it was locked away, we're breaking it open. Subscribe now and step into the world where every case unlocks a new truth. For 5 years, Ethan and Maya had lived a quiet, predictable life. Their marriage was a sanctuary built on routine and comfort, but beneath the surface, a silent ache lingered. Ethan, a meticulous architect, poured his energy into designing building structures that stood tall and unbreakable, while Mia, a devoted literature teacher, offered warmth and wisdom in a classroom filled with restless children. Together, they had dreamed endlessly of becoming parents, only to be met with heartbreak after heartbreak. But when Mia finally whispered the news that she was pregnant, Ethan's joy was immediate and pure until the cracks began to appear. Almost overnight, Mia changed. The light in her eyes dimmed, replaced by shadows Ethan couldn't understand. She became secretive, withdrawn, her smiles brittle and fleeting. Late-night whispers on her phone, unexplained absences, and moments of cold silence planted a growing doubt deep inside Ethan's mind, one he tried desperately to ignore. Then came the day when an anonymous message shattered his fragile peace. "You need to know the truth about Mia's baby." That message wasn't just a warning, it was the beginning of a nightmare Ethan never saw coming. A nightmare that would unravel the very foundation of his marriage and reveal secrets darker than anything he could have imagined. So when Mia told him she was pregnant, Ethan's happiness was overwhelming. That night, as they lay side by side in the dim light of their bedroom, Ethan held her close, feeling the fragile miracle growing inside her. They whispered promises of the future, imagining their child's first steps, first words. For the first few months, everything seemed perfect. Mia's radiant glow, her sudden bursts of laughter, the shared excitement of preparing for the baby's arrival. But gradually, Ethan noticed changes, small, unsettling signs that gnawed at him. Mia began to withdraw. She grew quiet, distant, often lost in thought during their conversations. She became secretive with her phone, stepping away to take calls in hushed tones, her expression shifting with every conversation. When Ethan asked, she brushed him off with vague reassurances. He tried to push the worries aside, telling himself it was just the stress of pregnancy or work. But doubt settled in his mind, refusing to leave. One rainy evening, Ethan was working late at his office when his phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "You deserve to know the truth about Maya's baby." His heart raced as he stared at the screen. Who was this? A stranger? Someone trying to hurt him? Or someone who knew a secret too terrible to ignore? Back home, Ethan wrestled with his thoughts. That night, as Maya lay beside him, he gently took her hand. "Mia," he whispered, voice thick with emotion. "Is there something you're not telling me? About the baby?" Her eyes flickered with pain, but she didn't answer. Instead, she turned away, burying her face in the pillow. Ethan felt his world unravel. He had never doubted her before, never questioned their bond. But now, shadows of mistrust crept in. Days passed in silence. The warmth that once filled their home grew cold and heavy. Ethan watched Maya closely, searching for answers in her silence. Then, one afternoon, when Mia was out, Ethan found a letter tucked between the pages of her favorite book. His hands trembled as he unfolded it. The letter mentioned a man named Lucas, someone from Maya's past, and hinted at promises broken and secrets buried deep. Ethan's mind spun. Could it be true? Had Mia kept a secret so devastating it would change everything? Desperate for answers, Ethan suggested a DNA test. Mia's eyes widened in shock, but after a long pause, she nodded quietly. They agreed to keep the test between themselves. Weeks passed like an eternity. Every day was a battle between hope and fear. Ethan replayed every moment with Mia, every smile, every touch. Could the woman he loved have betrayed him? When the results finally came, Ethan's hands shook as he read the report. The words blurred before his eyes. The baby wasn't his. Shock knocked the breath from his lungs. He sank to the floor, the room spinning around him. Every dream, every plan they had made seemed like a cruel lie. But as the initial shock wore off, a darker, more terrifying question took root. If the baby wasn't his, then whose was it? And what other secrets was Mia hiding? The days after the DNA test results were delivered felt like Ethan was living in a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. The moment he read the words, "The baby is not biologically related to Ethan," everything he had believed about his life, his marriage, and his future shattered like fragile glass. He tried to speak to Mia, to understand, to hear some kind of explanation. But she shut down completely. Her once gentle eyes were now filled with guilt and fear, and every time Ethan asked, she would either change the subject or break down silently. "Why didn't you tell me?" Ethan finally demanded one evening, his voice trembling with both anger and heartbreak. Mia's voice was barely a whisper. "I was scared. I didn't know how." "But who is he, Maya? Who is the father?" She looked away, biting her lip, as if the words might choke her. Ethan felt like he was being torn apart from the inside. How could someone he trusted so deeply keep such a secret? And what did it mean for the child growing inside her? As days turned into nights filled with sleepless questions, a name began to haunt Ethan's thoughts: Lucas. The man mentioned in the letter he'd found. Who was Lucas? And how did he fit into this painful puzzle? Determined to find answers, Ethan quietly began to dig. He searched through Maya's messages, her emails always careful not to be seen. One night, he found a thread of messages between Maya and Lucas, exchanged during the early months of her pregnancy. Their words were intimate, filled with longing and regret. Ethan's heart shattered anew. He wasn't just a victim of betrayal, he was a stranger in his own home. But then something even darker emerged. One evening, as Ethan was scrolling through Lucas's profile, he discovered something chilling. Lucas was not just a stranger from Mia's past. He was someone Ethan had seen before, someone whose face sent cold shivers down his spine. Lucas was an old acquaintance, someone Ethan had met years ago at a conference, a man with a reputation that was quietly whispered about, connected to dangerous circles, people involved in things Ethan wanted no part of. Why was Lucas involved with Maya? What had happened between them? And most terrifying of all, was their child really just a result of a mistake? Or was there something darker lurking beneath the surface? Ethan confronted Maya again. "This isn't just about the baby, is it?" he said, voice low but fierce. "There's something else you're hiding." Tears welled up in Mia's eyes. For the first time, she nodded. "There is," she whispered. "And you need to hear it." What Mia revealed next shook Ethan to his core. Years ago, before they met, Mia had been caught in a dangerous relationship with Lucas. It had been controlling, manipulative, a nightmare she'd escaped. But Lucas never truly let go. When Mia found out she was pregnant, She was terrified, not knowing if the baby was his or Ethan's. She had hoped the past was behind her, but the truth was buried deeper and darker than Ethan had imagined. Ethan's world tilted. This was more than just betrayal. It was a secret filled with fear, violence, and pain. As Mia broke down, Ethan realized that the path ahead would be painful and complicated. The baby might not be his biologically, but in his heart, Ethan felt an overwhelming urge to protect both Maya and the child, no matter the cost. But even as they tried to hold on to what was left of their relationship, the shadow of Lucas and the past threatened to consume them. The night Mia confessed the truth, Ethan felt as if the floor beneath him had crumbled entirely. The pieces of the puzzle were finally falling into place, but what they revealed was far worse than he had feared. Mia's voice trembled as she recounted the years before they met, the time she had spent entangled in Lucas's world, a man whose charm had masked a dangerous and controlling nature. He wasn't just controlling, Mia said, wiping tears from her cheeks. He was abusive, Ethan, physically and mentally. I thought I was trapped, but I never told you because I wanted to forget. I wanted to build a new life, a safe life with you. Ethan's heart ached, hearing her pain. The woman he loved had been through hell, hiding scars he never saw. But then, she continued, when I found out I was pregnant, I didn't know if the baby was his or yours. I was terrified of what Lucas might do if he found out, so I kept it a secret. Ethan sat silently, absorbing every word. His mind raced Lucas's name, now carried a weight he could barely comprehend. A man with a dangerous past, threatening the fragile life they were trying to protect. I wanted to tell you, Mia whispered, but I was scared. I was scared you'd leave me, scared you'd hate me. Ethan reached out and took her hands. I don't hate you. I just want us to be safe. I want to protect you and the baby. That moment of fragile honesty was shattered a few days later when a dark figure appeared at their doorstep. Lucas, tall, menacing, with eyes cold as ice. He stood there like a shadow from Maya's worst nightmares, demanding answers, threatening the family she had tried so hard to build. Ethan's protective instincts surged. For the first time, he faced the true danger lurking behind the DNA test and the secrets Maya had kept. Stay away from her, Ethan warned, voice steady but fierce. Lucas smiled, a cruel, knowing smile. You think you can protect her? This isn't just about you or me. This baby, it's bigger than all of us. Confused and terrified, Ethan realized the battle ahead wasn't just for love, it was for survival. Lucas's words echoed in Ethan's mind long after the confrontation at the door. This baby, it's bigger than all of us. What could that possibly mean? What secret did Mia and Lucas hold that was so dangerous? That night, Ethan barely slept. His mind raced, trying to piece together what Lucas might be after. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was about more than just the baby's paternity. The next morning, Ethan decided to confront Maya again, desperate for answers. Mia, he said quietly, what did Lucas mean when he said the baby is bigger than all of us? Mia's face paled. There's something I haven't told you, something that I was too afraid to share before. She took a deep breath. Before I met you, Lucas was involved in some illegal business. I didn't know the full details, but he was part of a group that did dangerous things. I got caught in the middle of it, trying to escape. Ethan's heart pounded. This wasn't just a man from her past. This was a threat to their entire future. And the baby? Ethan pressed. What does it have to do with all this? Mia's voice shook. Lucas believes the baby carries something valuable. He's convinced that the child, because of the circumstances of conception, is somehow connected to his work. He wants control. He thinks the baby could give him leverage. Ethan's mind reeled. He had to protect Mia and the baby, but how? He was just one man up against a dangerous enemy with unknown resources. Determined, Ethan reached out to an old friend, a detective named Sarah, someone he trusted implicitly. Sarah listened carefully as Ethan explained everything. The test, Lucas's threats, the fear that hung over Mia's life like a storm cloud. "I'll look into it," Sarah promised. "But you need to be careful. This sounds serious. Lucas isn't just some guy, he's dangerous." Over the next few days, Ethan and Maya lived in a tense fog of fear and uncertainty. Lucas's presence was like a shadow, and every unexpected sound made Maya jump. Ethan stayed by her side, ready to face whatever came next. But then, one night, everything spiraled out of control. Their home was broken into. Ethan fought off the intruders, but the message was clear. Lucas was sending a warning. The past was not going to let go so easily. Ethan looked at Maya, her eyes wide with fear and exhaustion. He knew they couldn't stay silent anymore. They had to fight back, not just for their family, but for their very lives. The break-in changed everything. Ethan knew they couldn't run or hide any longer. The shadow Lucas cast was too dark, too dangerous to ignore. With Detective Sarah's help, Ethan and Maya started building a case against Lucas. They gathered evidence, pieced together Lucas's criminal network, and prepared to confront the man who had haunted their lives. One rainy evening, Sarah called Ethan. "We've got a lead. Lucas is meeting someone tonight, someone important. If we act now, we might stop him." Ethan's heart pounded. This was it, the moment to end the nightmare. At the abandoned warehouse, Ethan and Sarah waited in the shadows. Hours passed with tense silence until a sleek black car pulled up. Lucas stepped out, looking as cold and calculating as ever. But he wasn't alone. Behind him was a woman, someone Ethan recognized immediately. It was Mia's childhood friend, Olivia. Shock hit Ethan like a tidal wave. Olivia had been the person Maya trusted most. Why was she here? What role was she playing? As the meeting unfolded, Ethan learned the full, horrifying truth. Olivia had been working with Lucas all along, manipulating Maya, spying on her, ensuring she stayed trapped in this dangerous web. Olivia wasn't just a friend. She was a traitor. And a baby. Lucas revealed the cruelest secret of all. The baby wasn't just a random child. The child carried a genetic marker that Lucas's criminal organization coveted, something that could unlock a hidden inheritance, a fortune buried in international smuggling operations. Mia had been an unwitting pawn in a game far larger than she ever imagined. Ethan's blood boiled with rage and heartbreak. Now wasn't the time to lose control. With Sarah and the police waiting nearby, Ethan stepped out of the shadows and confronted Lucas. "You'll never hurt Mia or that child again," Ethan said, voice steady and fierce. Lucas sneered. "You think you've won? This isn't over." But the police moved in, surrounding the warehouse. Lucas and Olivia were arrested, their dark empire beginning to crumble. Back at home, Ethan held Maya close. They had survived the storm, but scars remained. "I'm sorry I kept everything from you," Mia whispered. Ethan shook his head. "We faced the darkness together. That's what matters. This baby, our baby, is going to grow up surrounded by love. No secrets, no lies." As Mia's belly grew, so did their hope. The past was behind them, but the truth they uncovered had forged an unbreakable bond. Ethan realized that family was more than biology. It was trust, sacrifice, and standing together through the darkest nights. And no secret, no matter how shocking, could tear that apart. The case may be closed, but the truth still echoes. Want more stories the world tried to forget? Subscribe to CrimeLock and stay with us as we unlock the crimes time couldn't bury.